All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checkered TV. Thursday night tonight, you know what that means. It's time for the Area 51 Super Speedway Truck Series to come into your living rooms and computer rooms here tonight to kick off race number 8 of the season. Tonight is an important one tonight. It is our cutoff race for the playoffs. These guys have been racing 7 weeks straight, trying their absolute best to get as much points as possible. And one driver has definitely done that for sure, but the rest all vying for one of those top 8 spots. And we've got a lot of drivers going for it. But before we get to that, folks, you've got me tonight on the mic, Maxwell Caldwell here with you, but alongside a good friend of mine for years and years, and he's finally making his broadcasting debut alongside me here on Green White Checker TV tonight. Andrew Pileshi is in the booth with us tonight. Former Area 51 driver, ran in the Premier Series when this used to be a Cup Series night for Area 51, and ran a full season, and has also won not only an all-star race for Area 51 in that series, but has also won one of the main races during the season. So, Andrew, good to have you with us tonight, and tell us what you're kind of looking forward to tonight as we watch these truckers go at it.
Thank you for having me, Maxwell. Good to be here. I'm just looking forward to sitting in the booth for the first time and watching some guys do some plate racing, especially on a cutoff night. This is going to be kind of fun. So, show me the way.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great night. We know how these truckers are. Remember, folks, we've got 78 laps here at the Talladega Superspeedway tonight, which means strategy could be all over the place. Typically, when we run here, we know strategy is pretty close. Everybody on the same thing with those 3 extra laps, but one caution can change everything, could make fuel save a interesting factor. But Andrew, tonight as we get started, we're going to actually try to look at our standings here tonight, because with one race left, we've got our cutoff race. We have one drop race in each season that has been factored into the points. So these points are subject to change dramatically depending on how some guys' nights are tonight. But one driver here that will be locked into your season playoffs here on Thursday nights is Gabe Butler. 5 wins on the season out of 7 races so far. He's been your dominant guy. He is 55 points ahead of Kevin Freeze there in second, and we know these are 2 very fast drivers. The rest of your top 8 in points so far is Vicente Guerrero is in 3rd, Jay Hilliard 4th, Dean Wilkinson in 5th place. 6th place is tied with Robert Duvendak and Robert Rock, so it's a battle of the Roberts there for 6th. And rounding out that final playoff spot right now is J.D. Crow. And J.D. has a little bit of a points buffer, but it's only about 9 points over Bud Steele in 9th. And from 9th down to really 11th or even 13th possibly. It just depends on how people's nights go tonight. We could see any of those guys maybe make it into that 8th position. But I'm really looking at this cutoff here. I'm looking at some of these guys that are really, really close. 2nd to 8th place, Andrew, is only separated by, I believe, 17 or 18 points on what I factored earlier. I believe it was 18 points. That is pretty close between 2nd to 8th place. A lot could change here, and we could see drivers actually get knocked out of that championship.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. I imagine you're going to have them guys down there at the near the cutoff line. They're going to be trying to ride it out and survive the race and put themselves in a position to be there at the end. It's also going to be interesting, too, because Gabe Butler and his guys, they're always really fast at these tracks. And I'm kind of interested to see if they hang back or a guy in his position if he goes out and tries to win it. So it's going to be very interesting to see.
Absolutely. It's going to be a show for sure. And speaking of a show, qualifying getting ready to wrap up here in just a few seconds. And it's going to be about time for us to see our starting grid tonight. Just finishing up qualifying these truckers are. It's time to get onto the grid and get our starting lineup here. All right, starting in the first position here tonight is going to be the 25 of Kevin Freeze for Team Bootknocker Esports. Got a great qualifying time in there. Gary Jenkins in second. Gabe Butler, 3 of these Team Bootknocker guys up front here tonight in the third position. Tom Dixon with Team Extreme here in fourth. Robert Dupont, after his great, fantastic win that he didn't expect last week, he will be starting in the top 5. Brian Wang in 6th. JD Crow is 7th. James Mohan 8th. Eric Laurie in 9th. And Robert Rock will round out your top 10. Vicente Guerrero is going to be starting in the 11th position. Jay Hilliard in 12th tonight. Robert Duvendak, very fast driver, kind of back in the pack a little bit, in the 13th position. And Robert Jordan, slowest of the qualifying drivers here tonight, in 14th, but look for him to try to make his way up through the rest of the field. Now for your guys that did not qualify here tonight, wanting to start at the back and stay out of trouble, we see Derek Walker there in the 15th position, Gael Brooks in the 16th position, Bob Fitzgerald 17th, Bud Steele 18th, Dan Harrington in the 82 in 19th position, Randy Miner in 20th, Dean Wilkinson 21st, and Guy Bracco there in the 22nd position. And that will be all of our drivers that have gridded up here tonight. So, as we get ready to start this race, Andrew, what are you looking for out of these truckers? I know this is your first one here tonight, but I know you've raced with me quite a bit at super speedways, and you know what it's going to take for these guys to get it done here tonight. What are you expecting to see out of these truckers as they get ready for a playoff race in these trucks at Talladega?
Max, I'm expecting to see a lot of conservative racing, but I'm also not going to be surprised to see a little bit of actual hard racing up at front. Now, remember, we do have a couple of scheduled pit stops here to make it to the finish, so that's going to play into it with the green flag stops and all that. But it's going to take, I'm looking forward to seeing guys trying to survive. It's going to take a little bit of luck and a lot of good instincts to get through this and be there at the end, especially for them guys down there at the bottom of the cut line to try to pull out a Hail Mary and win the race and make it into the playoffs.
Absolutely. You have joined us on such a good night here tonight, Andrew.
Yeah, y'all thrown me into the fire just a tiny bit.
Absolutely. So with the playoffs going on, you're going to see a lot of comers and goers here tonight. Notice Gabe Butler. He was already coasting through turns 1 and 2, maybe playing the fuel save game right here on the grid. Don't know what we're going to expect here tonight, but we do know these truckers can make anywhere from 20 to 22 laps on fuel. And Andrew, one thing you're going to get to see here tonight is that when these trucks really get bumper to bumper, sometimes they really get loose. Those back ends lift up. And I know you know how that feels because back in the day, and I hate to say that, but when we run those Xfinity cars, they used to be really finicky to try to push somebody because you were afraid of spinning them. Well, these trucks will lift those rear tires. So how do you think these truckers are going to manage that here tonight to try to make it all 78 laps?
They're going to have to do it with their right foot. Try not to push too hard and be too aggressive to make sure they don't put themselves in a position they don't want to be in so they can make it to the end. Pushing it too hard, you can run too hard in the back of somebody, and next thing you know, you and your competitors are in a big mess.
Absolutely. It could be rough, but look here, the pace car getting ready to make its way to pit road. Talladega here going to finish off our regular season. Got Team Bootknocker guys up in the front. A few different paint jobs for some of these guys here tonight. But I'll tell you what, they've got one thing on their mind, and that's a trophy here at the famous Talladega Superspeedway. We typically see a lot of 3 wide here. Wouldn't be shocked if we don't see it right here off the start. And now the green flag is out, and the 90 truck on the outside is going to get the run here and get the outside lane going into turn 1. Here they go side by side. Look at them racing and already seeming to be pretty aggressive going into the first turn.
Yeah, that bottom lane got a much better start than the top side. They're starting to pull away. Gabe may clear the 90 truck. We're going to see as the top side gets some momentum here down the back straight. They're looking neck and neck as they head down to turn 3.
Absolutely. Going to see a big accordion effect here all night long. You're going to see some guys try to stretch that lane out. The outside lane will definitely get momentum, but on corner entry, you see the bottom lane work. And Andrew, you know these two well. Kevin Freeze, Gabe Butler. You can't put those two together in a restrictor plate race and expect to be able to get past them very easy. They are very good pushers.
Yes, they are very good. It's going to be a sight to see if they are separated from each other tonight. I doubt that happens. Them two are kind of akin to like a Michael Waltrip and a Dale Jr. at these kind of tracks. They're always there with each other, and they're always usually up there at the front.
Absolutely. And, you know, we wonder why someone second in points like this might be staying up front. We know Gabe Butler has nothing to lose if he wrecks here tonight. But Kevin Freese, if he wrecks here out of the lead, could be detrimental to his playoff chances, right? Even though he's got a win on the season, it could be very rough for him to try to find his way to victory lane if he gets in a wreck. As the 90 gets that big run on the outside and clears down to the bottom, now the 411 of Tom Dixon will lead that outside lane with his Team Extreme teammate just 2 trucks behind. So definitely a tale of 2 teams here. And look, already 3 wide on the front stretch. Does this surprise you any, Andrew, or would you expect that early on?
I'm kind of surprised, but at the same time, I'm not. These guys like to race. No matter what's on the line, they're going to go for it. I mean, they're racers. That's what they do. So I can't say I'm too surprised, even with the points picture, but that's what's happening.
Absolutely. Oh, and we've already got a caution.
Big wreck, big wreck.
Big wreck on the backstretch, and that involved plenty of our drivers here tonight. Wow, such a big chain of events. There he is, Tom Dixon, involved in that. Was running up front and had a bit of an incident here. Wow, did not expect that so early, Andrew, but we've already got our first yellow flag. We were talking about it, going 3 wide pretty early with playoffs on the line. This could have been detrimental to some of their chances here. But let's see if we can go back and get a view of what started all of this here for us. As we go back here, we're going to see where this all began. So Tom Dixon looks like a netcode bump, doesn't it, Andrew?
Looks like a teeny bit of lag there. And then the 2 runs a little bit into the back of him there with the netcode.
Absolutely nowhere to go in that.
From there.
Nowhere to go in that incident. Just runs into the back. Kevin Freese got a little bit of a hit there, but it looks like most of these drivers were able to move out of the way. See if we can watch this from a different camera view. Another big hit in the back. Mainly the 2 and the 411, believe it or not, in that big of a pack. Are you shocked that it was only these 2 guys so far?
Yeah, but not really. These guys are pretty good. They're good at, they do a lot of these plate racing every week, so they're kind of good at avoiding a lot of these wrecks. Very good job on the majority of the field's part there to avoid those spinning trucks.
Absolutely. Now it's time to see if this caution plays any strategy into these guys' hands. 4 laps in, I tell you, that could change the scope if they want to come and pit for fuel. And I tell you what, Andrew, it looks like feeding time might be coming here for these drivers. Looks like plenty of them are taking a peek and a look at pit road, and here most of them are going to come all pulling off here, some with damage, but most with not. They're coming to get some fuel-only stops in here, I would imagine, Andrew. I don't think you would need tires just yet, would you?
Probably not, but you might see some guys do it just maybe to save some time or to add some time, increase their time on pit road, so maybe some of the guys in the back working together can stay closer to their teammates. You might see some of that action going on, but I think it'll be the fuel most of the down pit road there.
Absolutely. I would put the camera somewhere else, but guess what? Every single driver decided to opt here and get service under this yellow flag, and it looks like Gabe Butler going to be the one that gains some spots off of pit road here.
Gabe Butler, the 90 truck of Gary Jenkins, win the race off of pit road. Gabe separated a little bit from his teammate there of Kevin Freese. Kevin, did he take tires or not? I don't know if I've seen that, Maxwell.
I did not see. Looking to see if I can find the pit stop times. He could have still had some of that damage there, Andrew, from that earlier incident. His pit stop time was 26 seconds long, so probably trying to repair a little bit of damage on that truck. Remember, when the 411 got turned, he did kind of come into the right rear of that truck. Going to be interesting to see if that truck still can make speed. We're going to try to take a look, actually, at that 25 of Kevin Freese now that he is mired back here in the back, and see if we can get some sort of better camera view. Might get it right here as he passes by our TV cameras. Looks pretty straight to me. Might have been a little bit of suspension damage possibly. Gonna have to watch this 25 truck. We just talked about it, Andrew. He was second in points, but only 18 points above the cut line. And we know how this new point system works in NASCAR. Definitely interesting. So going to have to watch that for sure.
Yes, it's very interesting. I'm kind of curious to see what happens between him and Gabe. Gabe will probably stay up front, I imagine. Or being that he's already locked in, will he maybe drop back and help his teammate, run a good race and try to salvage a decent finish?
Absolutely. So while we've got just a minute or two, like to see if we can get the 71 of Gael Brooks possibly in the booth with us here. We've got Gael right here with us. We're going to bring him up and see what he thinks of this early caution so far. Mr. Gael Brooks, do you have a copy?
Gotcha, guys. How's it going?
Oh, it's going good. We were just talking about that 3-wide action, and next thing you know, we've got a big crash with some playoff contenders. Is it a little wild out there tonight?
I wasn't able to see it very well from where I was at, but yeah, I was talking to some of the guys in the chat as I'm kind of hanging out with Kevin Freeze and Brian Wang, and they had mentioned that it seemed a little aggressive for as early of the race as it is. But I think for a lot of those guys, it's like you talked about, this is the cutoff race, so there's probably bonus points. I mean, you want to get that, you want to get the leading lap bonus and all that. But of course, like for Kevin, unfortunately, he's going to lose that incident-free bonus, 3 bonus points, I should say. So yeah, it's that risk versus reward. Unfortunately, going to maybe bite a few drivers here. So I think you're right, though. I think there's definitely a little extra aggression with these guys going after it.
So, opinion, Gael, do you see this going relatively clean from here? Will the racing calm down, a little single file, or you think they keep it running the pack like they have been?
I think we're going to at least double wide. I think we will still see the third lane here and there. I don't think it's going to calm down too much just because of everything that's on the line at this point. Like, I'm looking around me, like I see that 25 truck, a little bit of door damage. It almost looks like Eric Laurie, a little bit of back damage to his 071 as well. So to me, it's when you got the 4X, I think it's those drivers who say, hey, you know what? I've got my incident points. I can be aggressive now. So
yeah, bonus points off the table.
Exactly. Now it's like, well, I'm just going to go for lead every lap, try to get those bonus points instead.
Absolutely. Well, Gael, we know you're under the 1 to go, getting ready to go back to green. We'll get you back with your teammates to get a game plan, but thanks for checking in with us. We may check in throughout the race to see how your event is going here. Already in the top 8, so you get that 71 up to the front tonight.
I'll do my best, guys. Have fun.
10-4. Thank
you. You too. Good luck. Well, Maxwell.
Right. Yeah, go ahead.
We're coming to the green here. What do you think?
Oh, I see. We got some different players up front. JD Crow going to be leading us here as we get ready to go back to the green with James Mohan there in second. Eric Laurie, though, a teammate of JD Crow, right there in third, ready to push. But last week's winner, Robert Dupont, there in fourth. These guys have been aggressive already, and typically here at Talladega, the aggression never stops. These guys love to keep it hammered down as they go here. And look how many guys pitted with the 1 to go. We've only got 4 rows of double wide. That means some of those guys tried to top off, and the green is out. JD goes a little early. Everybody trying to get in line. Instead of going 3 wide, we might get single file here as we go into turn 1.
There's a big breakaway between the 5 and the 071 of Eric Laurie as they break away from the pack. Had a really good restart. Here comes the number 7 of James Mohan off the backstretch. Will they get the run off the turn 2 and run up the backstretch?
Looks like Eric Laurie making the move with Vicente Guerrero, knowing how good of a pusher he is. Eric Laurie trying to get himself back in the championship talks here. I think he's one of the drivers that might be on the outside looking in, and he's going to clear JD Crow, and he's looking to get a lap lead because he's got to get that bonus point for a lap lead. Remember, every point's going to matter tonight for some of these playoff guys, so look at this front pack side by side pushing hard.
And here comes Kevin Freeze pushing hard on the 14 of Guerrero. They're going to lead a lap, and that's going to put Freeze right back up front in second.
Absolutely, and going to take our eyes off just for a second. We see the 7, who is right there up front, making a trip down pit road. Don't know if this is a penalty stop here or what it is, but it may just be a stop and go. Not quite sure what's going on here or if he's got some internet issues. We'll have to check in on that later. But the racing up front intense as Vicente Guerrero has now taken the lead with one of the best pushers in this league right on his back bumper with Kevin Freeze.
And here comes the number 071 of Eric Laurie into turn 3. Got the number 5 of JD Crow pushing him hard. They're trying to get that outside line organized, but it doesn't look like they have enough trucks for it, Maxwell.
No, sir. Got this pack. We almost got a tale of 2 packs right now. If we go back here, we've got the top 12 here in the front pack. But look how far back we got to go to see these trucks in single file here from 13th on back. And Andrew, you haven't been with us for these events, and I don't know if you got to watch on YouTube or not, but we have definitely had some differing strategies going on as we see the 7 coming back off of pit road. Must have had some service he had to complete, or a stop and hold possibly for the change, maybe for changing lanes there on the start. But we have seen it where these packs will split. And Andrew, believe it or not, I've watched a pack of 3 cars pull away from a pack of 12. Just the way the pushing is and the way these guys line up. This single file line seems to be holding serve with the guys up front, maybe gaining ever so slightly. But it's going to be interesting to see if this second pack can indeed catch the front, because we've seen major breakaways where 1 week, Andrew, we saw only 3 trucks on the lead lap because of the draft difference.
Oh, wow. I got to wonder if that second pack's goal is not as much catching up as if we're only on lap 10 here, so I wonder if they're kind of just riding around, except for the lead truck in that pack, trying to ride around with as little throttle as they can to save as much fuel to get that pit strategy where they want it.
Absolutely, and looking at the ticker here, they were a little over 3 seconds behind, now 2.8 and decreasing. They are slowly catching this pack, which is good news, because if you lose this pack too much, you're definitely going to have a hard time if this goes green trying to catch up. And what we've seen under pit stops is you want to be able to pit very decently well up into the front of the pack. That way, if you have a bad stop, you've still got friends. If you're at the back and you try to make a green flag pit stop, which we'll probably see tonight, you could definitely lose some of your friends and be out there all alone without a draft. That's a lonely feeling out here at Talladega Superspeedway when you're by yourself, isn't it?
It sure is, and we've all been there as iRacers, I imagine. I gotta wonder if this lead pack as well, the majority of cars in that are kind of riding around trying to feather the gas as much as possible so that they can meet their strategy requirements and try to get their pit stops as required.
Absolutely, and as you can see on screen, just off in the distance, we just saw it. The 55 of Dean Wilkinson has indeed ran this pack down with being single file, so they luckily have gotten back in. They know over the past 2 weeks how the separation of packs has been killer, and so they made sure they didn't lose that pack too quick here. So all gathering back together after a very interesting restart. They're all getting back here, but Andrew, do you think it's going to stay calm maybe from here for a little bit? Those guys had a real early wreck. A lot of these guys know they need to get bonus points. They need to get laps led. They need to be in it to win, because remember, in Area 51 competition, a clean race, a 0x race, gives you 3 extra bonus points, and a lot of leagues don't do that. So someone like Kevin Freeze, they've seen he's already gotten an X, I'm sure, from contact on the racetrack. So definitely going to have to be watching here to see if some of these guys can take advantage of that and shuffle Kevin out at the end and see if they can beat him into these.
And they're looking to go 3 wide again as we go into turn 3 and 4. What you were asking, Maxwell, I was 2 laps ago, I'd have thought we'd have seen it go green, but now that you have a second pack catching up, guys at the bottom of the points, they might not want to lift and break that run they have. They're going to try to go up front and get as many points as they can.
Absolutely, but what does that do to the middle line as we get the third lane rolling? Andrew, you know from racing with me for years, we've been notorious early on in our iRacing careers of making the third lane at Daytona or Talladega build a lot of speed, and I can tell you right now these trucks have a lot of drag. So these trucks up in the third lane can really get big momentum if they got a group of 4 or 5 like they've got right now, and definitely going to make speed if you've got that one of Gabe Butler leading it. But the bottom lane seems to be prevailing right now, and the 14 of Vicente Guerrero seems to have one thing on his mind: lead the most laps and get the victory here tonight.
It seems like it. The bottom line's definitely holding serve here. That top lane against the outside, while it can work, you definitely have to have committed drivers to make it work. And it seems like now, even as we're having 2 trucks back here dip back to the middle, I wonder if they're going to leave them guys out to dry.
I don't know. I guess only time will tell here. While we've got a little bit of time, want to give a shout out to those in the chat here tonight. We see one coming in, the Drawing Dude Cartoons, cheering on Team Walker there in the number 20. Derek Walker, let's take a peek at where he's at right now for the fans. He's kind of hanging out here at the back. He sees all this 3 wide going on, and I don't know that he exactly likes that too much. Let's ride on board with him for a minute and just kind of see what he's seeing here. And let me tell you, we've seen this view before, haven't we, Andrew? It is like rush hour on steroids. These guys all over the place, weaving in and out, big runs, bottom lane checking up quite a bit. And look at his visibility. Not much visibility in front of him. He's got to trust these other truckers so that he doesn't run into them if something ends up happening.
Yeah, he's just trying to, I believe he's just trying to stay alive and ride at the back at the moment. There's really nowhere for him to go. He's just riding there at the bottom. Trucks in front, trucks to the right, trucks behind. He's just kind of at mercy of what everybody around him does, so he's praying everybody keeps it clean.
Absolutely. Speaking of clean, looks like the 3 wide has slowed down for just a moment, though we got one in the front trying to whip out to lead that lane. That would be Robert Jordan there. Talked about him earlier tonight. He is trying to make some moves. Typically, he hangs out at the back most of these events and waits till the end, but looks like he's showing no mercy here tonight as he knows the playoff cutoff line is on the line here tonight. And as I say, we were calm. The third lane starts to build momentum again. It seems like this middle lane cannot catch a break. As soon as they start getting a run, we see them start falling back because that outside lane gets that big side draft on them.
For sure, as we go into turn 1 here, we still have the 14 and the 25 leading the race. The middle lane seems like it's definitely holding a better chance at catching up to the bottom lane than the outside is. I just don't think they have enough trucks to do it. I may be wrong, but like I said, your friends are where you find them, and their strengths and numbers, especially up there in that top lane. And without that, I don't think they're going to go very far as they start to materialize more in that second lane.
Absolutely, but you can't ever doubt anything Gabe Butler tries to do in that third lane. He has nothing to lose. A 55-point advantage over second place locks him in just for showing up here tonight. He is locked into our final 8, racing for a championship over the next 4 events that we'll have, leading us into the holiday season. Absolutely going to be an awesome time there. But got one truck, had to have pitted, maybe had some issues, going to try to blend in. I believe that is the 101 of Randy Minor coming back onto the racing surface to blend back in with these truckers. Maybe get an update on him later on as we go through the field at some point. But for now, we've got too much action up front and different moving, lane changes, shifting. We haven't seen this the past couple of events.
071 brushed the wall there, Max, on the back straightaway. I didn't quite catch what happened there.
071, let's see if we can go. It looks like he is dropping positions here, dropping rapidly. And yes, you can see a little bit of damage on that right front. Right side got caved in. If we get a moment or a break in the action, we'll have to see what's going on. But I'm worried, Andrew, that he might not be able to keep the draft. And you can see that right wheel is actually sticking out in the wind. That is never a good sign here at Talladega Superspeedway.
It looked like that top lane went to check up a little bit, and the number 90 truck of Gary Jenkins, he went to dip out to go back down toward the bottom and clip the left rear of the 071. That's what put him on the wall there.
Absolutely. Just a little bit of hard racing. These guys going after it for a championship. And remember, Eric Laurie doesn't need to get behind here tonight if he wants to make it in the championship. He is outside the top 8 looking in right now, and that is something we're going to try to focus on. I won't be able to have the points just pulled up for us here tonight and have any live updates, but definitely at the end of this night, already talked with Mr. Gael Brooks. We're going to try to get you fans the updated points as this race concludes tonight so you know who your championship contenders will be this season. So make sure after the race, during post-race, you stay tuned for that. But right now, stay tuned at this. These guys are not relenting. Look at Bud Steele now leading the outside lane and getting up here next to Kevin Freeze, trying to make a run with Robert Duvendak giving the good push behind.
That top lane is starting to materialize a little bit. You got some good pushers up there. Looks like we might see the number 8 of Bud Steele try to look at the lead if he can get a run.
Absolutely. He's going to try his best. Looks to be side by side here. Sun reflecting off these beautiful paint jobs here tonight. And that bottom lane is just going to get momentum here for a minute. But if Bud Steele can hang on, he's got this whole straightaway here on the front stretch to really try to see if he can get clear of the 14. Probably won't be this time, but they're running up on a lap truck. But I don't believe that's a slow truck by any means. That 7, it could definitely, of James Mohon, could definitely change the outcome up front here if he starts working with some of these leaders, giving them the big pushes they need.
Steele's starting to get a pretty good run here in turn 3. Will he get it off onto the backstretch? It looks like Maybe not quite enough to get up there with the number 14, but maybe in the turn 3 we'll see something. I just don't think there's enough trucks up there to really get up there and clear the bottom lane, but we'll see.
And you see just a perfectly timed push by Robert Duvendak there on the outside lane. But Andrew, we've raced these races before as we're on lap 20 of 78 here tonight. We've raced plenty of these ourselves. We know how important momentum is and really how important the truck behind you is. Even if a truck's not pushing, like the one third in line, like Guy Bracco there, if he's not pushing, is it still critical for them to be tucked right up behind that truck that is pushing?
Oh, it definitely is. You're at the mercy of the car behind you, and just as much as the guy behind you is at your mercy. You need that car behind you to help give you the momentum and the air to get through the pack as much as you need the lead truck to guide you through everything. So it is definitely important to stay close as the number 99 gives a decently well-timed push to the 6 of Bud Steele going into turn 3. Still not enough. Bud goes up high. Wonder if the number 99 is overheating a little bit, Max.
Could be overheating, or like we talked about earlier, Andrew, these trucks really like to unload on those straightaways. They like to get really loose if they have someone tucked right up behind them. It's almost like the back of the truck is lifting. So definitely got to watch for that for sure. These truckers definitely get scared when they get big pushes on that back straightaway, and Bud Steele might have just had enough and said, hey, we're only on lap 22. I've got a race to try to win here tonight. Now is not the time. As we see some other guys maybe thinking that way, coming down and trying to merge into this bottom lane, maybe going to see a long run here.
Yeah, we're getting closer to our pit window. We're 10, 12 laps now removed from that last caution, so a lot of guys are probably starting to think about fuel, so now might be the time to duck into that bottom lane and start feathering that throttle a little bit and talking to your teammates and figuring out what you're going to do as far as pit strategy goes.
Absolutely. We went back to green flag racing around, I believe it was around lap 6. I'm making sure I double check because that is important for our fuel window for sure. So definitely interesting things there. Trying to make sure that we went green on lap 6. So 20 laps from there would be about the fuel window for most of these drivers. So about lap 16? We're getting close to it, aren't we? About lap 26.
I wouldn't be surprised to start seeing cars come to pit road here in the next 3-4 laps or so. It's going to be interesting. I'm curious to see if the 25 of Freeze and the 1 of Gabe still go together, if they happen to stay out on their own strategies. Kevin has a race to win tonight, whereas Gabe, he's just kind of, I'm sure he wants to win, obviously, but I wonder if he's in the mind of helping his teammate more than anything.
Speaking of helping teammates, a huge thing going on here right now for championship implications. The 071, he is getting pushed. Eric Laurie has a teammate behind him. They're burning fuel on purpose. The 5 not really wanting to do that, I'm sure. But it is important to try to get Eric Laurie at the tail end of the lead lap in case a yellow would arise. Need to make sure he would be able to pit with his teammates and be right back in the thick of it. Believe he ended up coming down pit road to fix that damage because he just fell back so quick. Yeah, the fender looks better on that truck. Believe he has used that one and only fast repair he has tonight. Actually, they might have 2. I forget. They made a rule change. They probably have 2 now, but definitely got one of those fast repairs in so that he can be in contention for this thing. And they're making a lot of ground. When these guys get single filed, you don't realize how much slower they get, Andrew. And see, a truck of 2 or 3 trucks can really make a lot of time.
Oh, for sure, Max. So I just want to touch on a little bit on lap number 19, the 071 of Eric Laurie. He did come down pit road to probably fix the little bit of damage he had. I guess he wanted to get it fixed early because now he's in contention to get his lap back, and that could play out big if we get some cautions here later on, especially during a green flag cycle.
Absolutely. Tom Dixon not having the night he wanted here tonight, going another lap down. That's going to be hard to recover from here tonight. He's probably looking for attrition, though, looking for some of these guys to wreck completely out of the event where he could try to get back in, but he's a long shot to try to get into this championship hunt. Probably just trying to make sure he doesn't mess up anybody's championship implications.
And here we come down the pit road.
Kind of seems to be a little early, but coming to start lap 26. These guys are coming in. Look at all the brake lock up we see on the track here right now. Look at how wide these trucks are as they come down pit road. But we do have split strategy here. We'll watch some of these guys to make sure they don't miss their stall and that they get in their box safely, especially our race leader there gets in perfectly. Great job there, and actually taking some left side tires as we see the 171 overshoot just a little, but we've got to go back up front as we still got some lead lap trucks up here. And remember the 5 trying to make sure that Eric Laurie can stay out, but looks like the 5 getting some strategy in himself, getting a lap led by staying out this extra time. I would imagine the rest of these trucks will be looking for pit road here in the next lap or 2.
If not sooner. Well, probably next lap. Here comes the 99 of Duvendak, the 5 of Crow and company. Eric Laurie staying out on his lonesome. That may pay dividends later on in the race, getting that lap back.
Gabe Butler having to move out of the way before he mowed one of the drivers down here. But here comes a lot of your Team Bootknocker Esports. I wouldn't be too worried about these guys. They are excellent at pit strategy. Racing with them, I think it was 2 seasons ago. Definitely learned a lot running with these guys. Now I've been turned into a broadcaster because these truck racers are just so much fun to watch. But now it's time to see, here's your guys that raced off pit road. Kevin Freeze kind of jumping ahead there with the 2 of Brian Wang. They worked together seamlessly last week, but they've got Vicente Guerrero right there in 3rd, and they are coming through the tri-oval now. We have drivers of JD Crow just now exiting pit road. Andrew, it's going to be tight to see where these guys blend in.
The 5 and company may have timed that very well. Let's see if they can get up to speed before that pack catches them. If not, they have enough cars there to group back together and run them down.
Absolutely. It looks like they're looking good so far, but here comes the 25 of Eric Freeze with huge momentum as they blast on by. So the strategy almost worked to leapfrog them there just a little bit, but still going to come out in great position. And that brings me to a question I want to ask you, Andrew. When you do these green flag pit stops, we saw one group come in with a ton of trucks, one group not, and it seems like that second group might have at least gained a position or 2 from where they were. So do you have better pit stops when you come with less drivers, or is it better to come with the bigger group at these super speedways?
In my opinion, I believe coming with more drivers is better, just for the safer option. There's strength in numbers, and if anything happens, even when you get leapfrogged like you've seen the 5 and company do there, gaining a couple spots, it's not hard when you pit in and out, especially with a bigger group of trucks, to get them positions back. So yes, I think it's better to stay with the larger groups just for security and strategy and such.
Absolutely. So yeah, definitely different mindsets as far as pit road goes, as far as what you want to do here on this super speedway. But you know what we ought to do right now, Andrew? I know you love this yourself. I love it as well. Why don't we watch some of these truckers race on by and see if we can't crank it up and hear these trucks roar for just a minute. Absolutely, watching these trucks rip around the high banks of Talladega Superspeedway. It's a tale of 2 packs if you saw it there in our Crank It Up segment here tonight on Green White Checker TV. And starting to see some of that separation we talked about, Andrew. These green flag pit stops really changed the complexions of some of these races, right? Dean Wilkinson leading that second group, watching the ticker, losing time and time slowly but surely, losing probably a good, at the rate they're going, I would expect at least a half second a lap, if not a little more.
If not more. Yeah, it looks to me, I'm just impressed by the job that the number 5, Duvendak, etc., them guys did, of timing their pit stop well enough to catch up with Freeze and company, because it looks like they're in a really good position, because I have to imagine when we come around here in about 15, 20 laps or so, for the next round of pit stops, that we're going to see something very similar.
Absolutely. So definitely seeing how some of these strategies are going to shake out here tonight. Different guys doing different things. Lap trucks mixed into some of these fields as well. Let's go ahead and see if we can go through the field for just a moment and check in on some of your favorite drivers here tonight. We're going to start out here with Kevin Freeze leading the field. And Andrew, you might not have tuned in too much this season, but we have seen a lot of Kevin Freeze leading at these super speedways. Such a fast truck, but at the end of these races, he's found himself kind of finishing even outside the top 10 due to some last lap crashes. So even though it looks pretty mandatory and straightforward right now, going to have to see how this works out. But he's got a great teammate behind him here with Brian Wang. Had the pleasure of racing with him in Area 51 during some Monday Night Next Gen series last season, and that was a lot of fun. But now over here doing the Super Speedway Truck Series and running flawlessly with his Team Bootknocker Esports teammates. And a guy y'all hear me talk about a lot, Vicente Guerrero, here in third, has been really running this race pretty smart. But remember, him and Kevin Freeze were running together a couple weeks ago toward the end of a race, and the 14 actually got the 25 turned and wrecked there at the end, and I believe it got him a penalty that he had to pay a couple weeks ago. So definitely drivers to watch to see if there's any bad blood still hanging between those two. We'll have to see this elimination race, but skipping one of the trucks there in line because they are a lap down, we go to 4th place, last week's winner, Robert Dupont, running solid again here tonight. The past 3 weeks, he has really stepped up his game and been making a hard charge here for this playoff contention. Been getting good finishes. Last 2 finishes, 2nd and 1st. Looking to get 2 in a row here tonight, and he's in about the same position he was last week, folks. So we're definitely going to have to watch that. Andrew, what do you think here of our 5th place driver?
Our 5th place driver, Gael Brooks, longtime veteran, obviously, of the Area 51 series. Haven't had much a chance of racing with him, but it seems like he's holding his own tonight, running in the 5th position. Kind of curious to see if he's there at the end or if he's going to let these guys duke it out for the points.
Absolutely. We saw him here at the end last week, so just avoiding other people's mistakes, and found himself actually in the top 3, Andrew. Believe he came home with the 2nd place finish, pushing that 07 truck. So maybe working with him again tonight. Don't see him in the Discord channel with him, but we know those two finished 1-2 last week, and they're in the same position here where they could do it all over again.
In plate racing, your friends seem to be where you find them, so it might work out very well for them too. It worked last week. It might be kind of akin to a Dale Jr. and a Tony Stewart thing, like they used to have. They find each other on the track. They might have good results here again this week.
Absolutely. Now looking at our 6th place driver, JD Crow here in the 5. We know he is solid. Tried to help his teammate out on that last run. Did what he could, but now he's got to do his own thing where Eric Laurie had stayed out. He is going to run here in the 6th position. Got 2 of his teammates leading the field. He's just biding his time, as he's got the 99 of Robert Duvendak here behind him, running in the 7th position. Been solid all season, shown a lot of speed, but maybe at times too aggressive at the wrong times. Found himself in a lot of wrecks here too. And Andrew, it's hard to build up points when you find yourself crashing out at the end of these things.
It sure is, and restrictor plate racing gives and it takes. 1 minute you could be leading, next minute you could be backwards going across that finish line. So it is very hard to dig yourself out of a hole with this type of racing. Hopefully luck is on his side tonight. He's able to go forward.
Believe I've seen you one time on your roof sliding across the line
many
for a top
times.
3 finish. So definitely interesting for sure. And now we've got the man of the season. Had 5 straight wins here in Area 51 to kick off this season. And if you count the 2 he won at the end of last season, it was 7 straight restrictor plate wins on Thursday nights. And Andrew, you've been in this sport a long time. You've been on iRacing for many years. That's unheard of in a league to get 7 straight races at a unpredictable restrictor plate.
Gabe and his boys are just in another class. As you alluded to earlier, I'm more of a veteran of this series and the Premier Series and the Cup Series. there had been one time, particularly at Daytona last year, that I had signed up to run in the Area 51 Restrictor Plate Series, just thinking it would be your regular style plate race. I soon learned that you do not mess with Gabe and his team, because them guys do not mess around. They will pass you because they are fast, they are calculated and cold, they know what they're doing.
Absolutely. And someone else that knows what they're doing is another veteran of this series from TW Motorsports here, Dean Wilkinson in that 55. We've seen him doing well over on the Sunday night side of things in the Xfinity Series, but also a very fast driver here in the Super Speedway Truck Series. And oh, we're seeing a truck kind of spinning out back here. Catches it there and don't know exactly what happened there. Maybe some slight contact or someone making a move, but Guy Bracco there in 14th going to lose the field now. We just caught that on the cameras there. But going to go back here to find our 10th place driver. After that save, we see the 20 of Derek Walker, and we've got fans in here. Also, Greg chiming in here into the chats. Hashtag Team Walker. Let's go, number 20. Well, guys, he is running a smart race so far in the 10th position, but finds himself 8.5 seconds off of our leader. Behind him, the 82 of Dan Harrington likes to stay out of trouble most of these races, and that's where he finds himself right now. Got a little bit of rear damage, though. Maybe that's the contact that was made with Guy Bracco. I don't know. We can attempt to try to find that replay later, but I don't know how successful we'll be since it was not a yellow. May have trouble finding that, but definitely maybe some contact there, Andrew, wouldn't you think?
Yes, for sure. If you don't mind, I did go back and see what happened there between Bracco. Looked like he was just checking up for a run he had, and he got tapped in the back and got sideways, but thankfully gathered it up.
Absolutely gathered it up, but finds himself off of this lead draft. But in this second pack here, we see the 59 of Jay Hilliard, another TW Motorsports guy, just trying to hang out here at the back, biding his time. One of the lone Toyota in this field tonight. Most guys running the Chevrolet and the Fords, but lone Toyota here, but he always finds himself at the end of these races. He's always in that survival mode, and that's where he finds himself tonight. And the last guy here in this pack is the 171 of Robert Rock. Got a brand new paint on that truck, looking super good here tonight. Blacked out, and Andrew, I've always said a black paint job is very intimidating. Robert Rock might try to intimidate these guys here tonight.
He may intimidate his way to the front with that new paint scheme. We shall see.
Absolutely. So we see the 69. We talked about his woes, finding himself 24, almost 25 seconds off of this pack and climbing. He's going to have to hope for a yellow, or this is going to be a long rest of the race for him. Gary Jenkins here not having very fortunate events, working with a couple of trucks here, just trying to stay with them here in the 15th position. He is working with the 74 of Robert Jordan, and he is working with, trying to see that car come around, the 411 there of Tom Dixon, who is multiple laps down. He's just out here trying to help these guys out. Eric Laurie coming to pit road. Remember, he had to stay out. We just got fortunate to catch him. He had to stay out due to his pit stop earlier in the race, so he's off strategy of everybody. So this is definitely going to put him one lap down, and still not with any drafting help here. Robert Jordan might gain that position as he's in 18th here, one of our lap down trucks, but he's trying to catch some of these other guys like Bud Steele as well, who somehow we didn't catch and skipped there. I guess with Eric Laurie pitting, it kind of jumbled things around. But Bud Steele there in this lead pack, he is going to find himself being, I believe, your first truck one lap down. Then it is Eric Laurie, and then Robert Jordan here in the 18th position. And then 19th, a lap down, is Randy Minor, all by his lonesome yet again. Just unfortunate circumstances maybe with some of these guys half spinning and cautions not coming out, really hurting them. But did you see who was behind them? It'd be those leaders. And in that lead pack is that 7 of James Mohan in the 20th position, not having the night he wanted, but hoping that he can try to get back to the first car one lap down. But with Bud Steele in this pack, it's going to make it very difficult for him. And then finally here at the back, we're going to see Bob Fitzgerald not having the night he wants. The 7 of James Mohan, 2 laps down, by the way. Bob Fitzgerald also not having the greatest of nights. He is 2 laps down, and the 411, the last car out here in the field tonight. All our drivers still running. Nobody has retired yet, but in 22nd, multiple laps down here. I believe it was 3 laps down is Tom Dixon in the 411, just hoping for a change of pace in this race. So as we go back to the front, we do see Randy Minor going a lap down yet again, going to lose some spots all the way back now to the 21st position. But Andrew, it's awful calm out here. Do you think this is the calm before the storm?
I believe so. Unless it goes green from here. I think if it goes green, we're going to see this pack shrink and shrink some more with guys on different strategies and pit road mishaps, etc. We still have Kevin Freese out there sticking his number 25 Bud Chevy in the wind with Brian Wang behind him. I don't think you're going to see them guys go anywhere tonight.
No, sir. Seems like they like to stick together. And, you know, now that you've got to watch a little over half of this race here tonight, who do you have your eyes on, Andrew, as we get ready in the next few laps for more green flag pit stops and all these guys single file for that? Who do you have your eyes on here tonight? Who is really catching your eye as maybe a really fast truck that can do a great thing tonight and try to get that win?
Kevin Freese, he's been up front most of this race. He's got a point to prove and points to get to make it into the playoffs. That's my pick to see winning this race. He's got a lot of good help behind him. He's got friends. That's what I'm thinking we're going to see in victory lane at the end of the race.
Bold prediction. Remember, he had that incident very early on, lost those bonus points. Now he's trying to overthrow Vicente Guerrero. Might be a battle before this race is over for the most laps led between those two drivers tonight, but it's still anybody's game if somebody can pass and lead the rest of this race. But Kevin Freese is your leader with Brian Wang in second. I wouldn't rule out Brian Wang. He is a very fast driver. He was one of them that was dominating last week with Kevin Freese. But Vicente Guerrero, I mean, we saw him lead a lot of laps here tonight, Andrew. I don't know that you can count that 14 out just yet either. He likes to ride here up front, but when it comes down to the end, if you're going to see someone go 3 or even 4 wide or make a bold move, this is the guy.
Yeah, he's definitely been a fixture up here in the top 5 since the flag dropped. I don't think we're going to see him go anywhere, barring unforeseen circumstances. He's got a very fast truck as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see Gabe Butler or J.D. Crow. He's also had a fast truck. He seems to be running his own race and sticking with the pack. I think any of them guys really have a shot at it. With plate racing, you never really know. It's really a big lottery, but with a little bit of luck and a teeny bit of skill, you can make things happen.
Absolutely, and now we see these guys coming around and really focusing on this lead pack here because it seems like this is about the time they pitted last time, and on cue, here they come, coming down pit road, making those 20-lap runs. Little bit of brake lock up there, and we see Gael Brooks just at the bottom of pit road. Who is going to make up time on this pit stop to see if they can overthrow Kevin Freese? I know the 14 would definitely want to be that guy. Looks like he is making up plenty of time himself as he gets into the pit stall perfectly yet again. Watching some of these guys try to... Oh, Robert Dupont not in the pit stall the way he wants. He might even have to back up to try to get out of there because I don't know that he can turn without hitting that wall. But, yeah.
It's going to be a sharp exit for him for sure.
And he did rub it there just a little bit.
The 25 of Kevin Freese makes it out pretty much as they ran with the number 2 of Brian Wang and the 14 of Vicente Guerrero behind him. Gabe Butler creeps up further in the pack as well.
Absolutely. So as we see a lot of these guys coming off pit road.
Gabe gets loose on the apron there, getting passed on the outside by the 71.
Wow.
I believe.
By the 07 there.
The 07, sorry.
Yes, the 07 making the moves. Does somebody just wreck in the back? We just had one get loose there. Was that J.D. Crow? I think he might have gotten loose and almost hit the wall there. Definitely something. You see the smoke still on our screen. Andrew, I'm going to let you try to go back and find that yourself. It's hard for me to keep my eyes off the action with the pit stops going on here. But, wow, what a turn of events there.
Yeah, it was definitely a green truck back there in the pack. Give me just a second. I'll have more for you.
Absolutely. So as you look that up, we've got the second pack here that stayed out. The 69 who had unfortunate event. He is now on pit road with Gary Jenkins, Robert Jordan, and Tom Dixon. That little pack that was all to themselves, they are coming down onto pit road to get service for them. And it looks to be a pretty slow entry for the 69 into his box. That could cost a little bit of time there. But as we look at that, we've got to focus on this lead pack. Looks like they all stayed together. No one really separated. I was wondering if we would get a 3-truck breakaway like we've seen the past couple weeks. But these guys all nailing their pit stops perfectly to try to keep together here. Nobody wants to lose the pack like they've done the last couple weeks. As Robert Dupont maybe having a penalty here, coming back down pit road, last week's winner. This is heartbreaking.
I almost
for
wonder,
him.
Max, if he was out racing side by side on the apron with the number 1 truck of Gabe Butler. Almost wonder if he might have clipped the yellow line and got an entering track too soon penalty.
You said he passed on the outside. Could have maybe easily done that. Great eye there, Andrew. Definitely doing fantastic for your first truck race here tonight. Catching all of these things that maybe I can't always see, but definitely coming in to serve that penalty. But that gaggle of trucks, remember I said they were a little slow. We see our leaders are getting ready to catch them. Guy Bracco in 13th, 50 seconds behind the leader, which means he's but a couple seconds away. I bet Kevin Freese has probably already got that draft.
The 07 of Robert Dupont, just for a brief second leaving pit road in the turn 2 apron, did just barely skate the right side tires above that yellow line, so I wonder if that was the reason he came back down pit road.
Absolutely riding on board with Kevin Freese as he does go to put some more trucks a lap down, some multiple laps down, but definitely trying to get more of this field lapped where it's less contenders that honestly he has to deal with. But some of these guys really not getting a good shake here tonight. And I tell you, that leaves just our top 10 already on the lead lap. Andrew, coming into this tonight, did you expect to see so many trucks go a lap down so early?
Yes and no, Max, because usually in these plate races, when they tend to go green, you have guys with different strategy and whatnot, and accidents happen. It seems to be, quite a few cars end up not on the lead lap. In my experience, it seems to be in races where there's more cautions, you tend to see the field stick together and more cars stay on the lead lap. As we're coming to the stripe here, it looks like an outside line of Kevin Freese, the number 2 truck, and the 14 of Vicente are dipping down to the bottom. They got Gabe Butler there as well. I wonder if you're going to see them guys stay up front now.
That might have just got this front pack to be a little racy now. You've left Gabe Butler to be a leader in that outside lane. Gael Brooks there in second. Beautiful camera work going down the backstretch here as we see these trucks racing off. And yes, the one is side by side with Vicente Guerrero. This is really going to start changing the complexion of this front pack. And these lap trucks, Andrew, definitely going to have a factor in this race by who they push and whether they start jumping to that outside lane to maybe help some of these guys.
For sure. We got Gabe Butler there getting a great run into the trial. Has Gael Brooks pushing him. I wonder if he'll get enough of a run to get side by side with Kevin. Or will Kevin let him in line, or vice versa, since they are teammates? I wonder if we'll see anything like that happen.
Kevin Freese, I would think, would want to have those most laps led, and Gabe Butler is actually saying, you know what, I have nothing to lose. If I think you're going to make it in the playoffs, forget it. I want to lead a little bit. I'm tired of riding. I want to have fun. And our main man, our boss man, the guy that pays our bills, Andrew, Gael Brooks.
Big run.
Taking
great
a run.
Push.
And going to keep in that outside lane, not going to follow. He's going to battle for the lead going into 3.
I don't think he's going to have much of a luck, though, because the 1 truck of Gabe did a great job of getting down really close to that 25 truck. And them top 4 cars in that bottom lane, they were really strong. They've been together pretty much this whole race. It's going to be hard for that outside line to get past them guys.
It will, but there's a great pusher there behind him in Robert Duvendak. He is super fast at these restriction plates. And look, they are still side by side, even though they don't have all the help. But notice some of these other guys, Guy Bracco trying to catch up. And let's not forget, Guy Bracco and Gary Jenkins, they're battling for the lucky dog spot in this pack. So this is definitely going to become a race within the race here in this lead pack.
The 71 is getting a decent push from Duvendak down the straightaway, neck and neck with the 1. Not quite enough to get ahead of him in the 3. The 101 gets a little loose there in the back as we're coming up on a lap car, Max.
Absolutely. Lap traffic normally plays a factor, but well out of the way is the 82 there of, the 82 of Dan Harrington, well out of the way, making sure he is making room for all of his fellow competitors. And the outside lane, that kind of hurt him a little bit, but all they've got to do is try to regroup here, and I think this outside lane can carry some momentum.
It looks like they're getting a little more organized. They gained up about a half a car length there. If the 69 would stay in line with the 99 at Dupont, I wouldn't be surprised to see them guys make a run at the inside line.
And we've talked about that already this evening, haven't we? The third truck really makes a difference in how these runs play out. You would think the two trucks pushing could do it all on their own, but that second truck that's pushing, if he can get the air taken off his spoiler so that he can have less drag, he can really push that front truck ahead, can he?
Oh, for sure. That third truck is just as important as the second truck and the first truck. It's all strength in numbers, and momentum wins these races and makes these passes. And having them guys tucked up together real close is going to pay dividends if they can hold on.
Absolutely, and changing up some of these guys in the lead pack, Andrew, that means these guys are going to start burning a little more fuel, but maybe they're not worried about fuel at this point in the race because we had that early caution at lap 4 that allowed us to be able to stretch that fuel number a little bit. Remember, I said at the beginning, everybody would be on a really tight fuel strategy unless we got a yellow, and it would change everything. And maybe we're seeing that tonight. These guys can be a lot more aggressive because they know exactly how far they can go when they're pushing hard.
For sure. I'm wondering how the 1 and even the number 20, the top two, the 1 and the 25. The 25 spent a lot of time leading this race, and the 1 is out there now. I wonder how that's going to play into their fuel consumption. Because especially when you're leading that race, getting a good push on the bottom like Gabe is right now, you're pretty much having to keep that thing wide open or you're going to get it run over by that outside line. As Gael Brooks getting pushed by Dupont gets a good run into turn 1.
Absolutely, definitely getting the run. Not able to make much headway, but there's about twice as many trucks in that bottom lane as there is the top. As these guys seem to be pretty calm, let's try to check in with maybe some of these other packs. We know there's other guys out here in the field just trying to survive. We know look here, we've got Bud Steele leading this other pack of lapped trucks. And I don't know that this might not all be all the way to Robert Dupont. This will be a battle for position in this pack, but none of them for the Lucky Dog. So I don't think you're going to see any passes made here. I think these guys are trying to stick together, or maybe they could try to take a wave around later.
Meanwhile, up front, we got a neck-and-neck race for the lead between the 71 of Gael Brooks and the 1 of Gabe Butler. That outside line is starting to form together very well, and they're sticking close with the bottom, Max. You think they're going to try to make a run at it?
Possibly so. They could definitely try. Looks like they're getting more organized in that top lane. The bottom lane may be getting that accordion effect hurting them, but you got 3 really strong trucks in that 4, really. You know, can I rephrase that? Can I just say there's a ton of strong trucks in that bottom lane? I'd say those top 5 trucks definitely some of the hardest pushers, and the 90 is no slouch either. So it's really a feat if the 71 of Gael Brooks can get clear here. But even if he does, there's 3 teammates in a row in the 1, the 25, and the 2. They could easily make a move to the outside altogether and freight train Gael as soon as he takes that lead.
I believe so. That's probably what we're going to see happen if we get that outside line to get clear. As we go into turn 1, the 1 car holding strong, completely clear of everybody else. That outside line is still holding tight, but not quite enough to make a pass. I don't know about you. I just don't think they have enough cars. As strong as them guys are, I don't think they have enough momentum up there to get very far forward.
Absolutely, and, you know, didn't get a whole lot of chance tonight, but going to try to get you guys involved in the chat tonight. Did you guys expect to see some of this racing here tonight? Some of these guys splitting up into different packs. I know the last couple weeks we had it, but now seeing lap trucks playing a factor here tonight, splitting this field up with lap racing for a Lucky Dog in this front pack and racing for the win with some other drivers. And look here, the outside line getting a big run as we watch. Neck and neck. As we're watching this, though, type in the chat, who are your picks to make the playoffs here tonight? We've seen some different implications, and with 21 to go, it's getting crunch time.
Out.
And yellow is out on the track. Must have been in that backpack. We will check it out here in just a second. Looks like Bud Steele and JD Crow, oh yes, definitely crashed here. Not looking good for these guys. Man, what heartbreak. A lead lap driver with a lap down truck. Gonna have to go back and see what happened here. This yellow changes everything, folks. It's time to go back and see if we can find what happened here. as we go to the green-white checkered replay. Oh, and we just catch it late, but just a bump gone wrong by Eric Laurie, teammate. Knocks him down into Bud Steele. And there is your wreck. And because they wrecked, normally this would not bring out a caution, but they wrecked right here at the exit of pit lane, and iRacing does pick up this part of the apron as the racing surface, since that's where drivers do merge. So, and also, I guess JD coming up the track also caused that. So definitely kept it off the wall, but got some left side damage there. Did Bud Steele, though? We need to go back and see one thing.
He clipped the pit road, Max. That's rubbing salt in the wound there for Bud Steele. He got hit in the pit road before they hit the exit commitment cone there, and that'll be an entering closed pits penalty, I believe.
Absolutely. And here's Bud Steele's incident. Oh, he didn't hit that wall, though.
Nice lock-up job by Bud. Keeps it off the wall.
That doesn't happen often, does it, Andrew? But definitely kept it off the wall, and that's the big thing. He can take the black flag penalty, but he had to keep it off the wall there. So as we go back live, look at your leader, Gael Brooks, bringing them down pit road, and this is right here at the edge of the fuel window, Andrew. 20 to go.
I'm slightly surprised we didn't see some more guys stay out and hope for another one, but this is the safe option for sure. What will happen? Will Gael get a good pit stop and come out and retain the lead, or will we see the 1 in the 25 take back their lead that they have held in a dominant fashion all night?
Absolutely. Gabe Butler on the brakes, perfect in his stall. So is Kevin Freeze. Did Gael Brooks make it perfect in his? Oh, taking some tires here. Some guys maybe going fuel only. We're going to have to see this race off pit road, Andrew, to see what exactly shakes out here. And it looks like Gael's going to lose quite a few spots taking those tires. Maybe he didn't need that much fuel because, remember, they were on kind of an alternate strategy. This might have put them where they only needed maybe a can and a half.
We're only coming up on we're going to restart probably just shy of 15, 16 laps to go. So it might have been just a splash and go for a handful of guys. They may be able to make it.
Absolutely. Well, while we sort all this out, it is 19 to go here at Green White Checker TV. We're going to take a quick break under this caution, and under the 1 to go, we'll get you reset up for the finish here. Stay tuned. All right, back here under the 1 to go on the back stretch here. 18 laps left to go. Going to restart with 17 to go here in the Area 51 Superspeedway Truck Series here tonight. Remember, this is the cutoff race for the championship to see who is going to decide who's going to run for that championship. And as these drivers go into turn 3, got a lot of different storylines here. Got Gabe Butler leading. Vicente Guerrero up here in the second position. JD Crow in third. Kevin Freeze all the way back here in the back in fourth. Some of these guys might have come and topped off with 1 to go where some stayed out. Gael Brooks in fifth. Brian Wang sixth. Robert Rock a little farther back there in seventh. Derek Walker in eighth. Robert Duvendak ninth. And Guy Bracco, your top 10. Definitely got interesting things going on, Andrew, as we have the pace car pulling in, getting ready to take the green for 17 to go.
I'm very curious to see, because you know as well as I do, cautions breed cautions. Do you think we have any more from here, or do they run clean? The whole field stacked up together. We have 10 cars on the lead lap. And here they go. Green flag is out. The 5 of JD Crow gives a good start to Gabe Butler.
Absolutely. Teammates working flawlessly on the restart. 17 to go here in the Area 51 Superspeedway Truck Series. Gabe Butler got the 1 truck on point, but he's got the 5, and Vicente Guerrero trying to make a 3-car breakaway, but not too fast because you've got Dean Wilkinson, who is the first car 1 lap down, hot on their tail, trying to get back onto the lead lap.
The 55 has a run and is pushing the 14 of Vicente up to the lead. You think they'll clear him? I think they will. They have a good run.
They have a great run. Dean Wilkinson, such a good plate racer, trying to prove a point for his team. It's going to help if he can get ahead of that one of Gabe Butler, and the 14 is going to race for all he's worth here, because if you can get the lead now, you might be able to hold on to it until the end.
Just not enough, but that outside is forming lap cars, lead lap cars. Everybody's up there trying to vie for position and help that 14 get ahead.
Kevin Freeze has nothing to do with it. He wants to get back to the lead. He feels like that's been stolen from him. Him and Brian Wang, 2 really strong pushers. This is where you're going to see how 2 trucks can really make a difference on the outside lane. Andrew reminds you of our
Huge
races
run.
of old. Look at that down the backstretch. Racing of old here. Me and you doing this plenty of times, right? Look at those 2 trucks making their way all the way to the lead.
And the 14 almost cleared Gabe 3 wide in turn 3 and 4. Who's going to come out with the lead here?
It's going to be insane, and we might not be done with yellows. These guys now know they've got enough fuel. They've got the tires they need. They've got everything they need. It's not up to the crews anymore. It's up to the drivers. And I tell you what, it might be interesting for just a moment to see just how crazy this really is. Right on board with our boss here. Oh, wrong camera. With our boss there of Gael Brooks, seeing what he's seeing out the windshield, and look at him 3x3x3. Everything crazy. Lots of moving around. Look at the big runs on the outside.
Maxwell, I believe we're going to see that top lane get a run enough to clear them bottom 2 at some point. There's strength in numbers, and they've got numbers starting to pile up there. Even though the 14 of Vicente is holding strong, that middle lane's got a lot of momentum as well. As the 74 gets loose on the bottom, it's going to be interesting to see.
That's going to be huge for that bottom lane. Probably going to lose a little bit of time here. The middle lane really stacked up. But remember, this is a mixture of lap trucks, lead lap trucks. Some are trying to be the first car 1 lap down. Some are trying to lead. Vicente is clear of that bottom lane, and if he knows Gabe Butler well enough, I would probably pull down there and let Gabe be the pusher to push me to the front. But sticking with the middle lane is Vicente Guerrero, trying to side draft that 25. That's going to allow Gabe Butler to take the shorter distance and get the run to make it 3 wide, possibly again. Maybe the 14 is clear.
Absolute masterclass display of skill these guys up here are showing off tonight. 3 wide, almost 4-5 rows deep. Nobody's touching. Everybody's holding it straight. This is really impressive to see such good, hard, clean racing here,
and
as the 1 of Gabe gets the run.
Big
run to the 1.
Run, yes.
He's going to retain the lead off of turn 4.
Absolutely. Did you see how much time him and JD gained in turns 3 and 4. The shorter distance, if you've got the right pusher, will prevail almost every time, but that outside is not giving up, but a lot of movement in the back of this pack, and I don't like where that 71 truck is. He's right there in the thick of it on that bottom lane, and that bottom lane means there's no real escape there, is there?
He's kind of stuck down there on his own. Every escape lane is blocked. They're 3 wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows deep. The outside lane with Kevin Freeze and JD Crow are getting a good run.
And the
25 almost cleared him.
25 got really loose under the pushing. Remember, Andrew, these things can lift the back ends up off of the racing surface, and that's what we saw, such a big push. The 25 was fishtailing, and that caused their loss of momentum there coming into 3 and 4, but they're trying to gain it back here on the front stretch.
He did a great job of holding on to it. He definitely had to lift out of that and lose some of that momentum to them 2 lanes, but they're still holding strong, almost neck and neck all through that top 10.
Absolutely. If you think you can keep up with who is in position for the playoffs and who's not, then you're a better person than I am. I don't know how you would keep up with points here. None of these drivers thinking points at this moment, are they? They're thinking win to try their best to get in, aren't they?
The 25 gets a great push from the 2 of Brian Wang. Will he be able to clear him? I don't think it's going to be enough. It's really close.
Oh, contact!
Big wreck!
Big crash going into the infield, and we're going to stay green, it looks like. They wrecked in the infield. That took out 2 really fast trucks. And remember, the top 8 in points, Vicente Guerrero was 3rd, but only 18 points to the good for 2nd place of Kevin Freeze. That means the 14 of Vicente Guerrero did not have enough points to have an incident like that.
No, sir. And we still look up front, the 2 car of, Brian Wang. He retained the lead, but now Kevin Freeze is going to get it back. Boy, Max, that spin there was certainly the tale of 2 different stories. Of the 1 of Gabe, he had nothing to lose there, but then the 14 of Vicente Guerrero, he had everything.
Oh, big contact in the outside.
Big wreck.
Big crash here in the outside lane. Oh, but they are still wrecking. How is there no yellow?
Still green.
And are we going to get the yellow here?
It doesn't look like it. I think everybody.
Oh, I think we get it now. Look at the 99 here backwards on the racing surface.
Oh, wow.
And yet no yellow for that. Wow. Interesting that iRacing did not throw that yellow. Almost feel like the admins need to throw a yellow on that one, but I don't know if Area 51 does that. Definitely going to be some things getting reviewed in this race. Andrew, I may have to let you go back to see what even triggered that as we watch this battle for the lead up here.
Yeah, it looks... Go ahead.
Smaller group of cars here racing. The racing's going to calm down now, you would think. No more 3 wide, but we've took out a lot of big players as we're under 10 to go here down the backstretch. But the 2 of Brian Wang in that pink machine really trying to make his way to the front on the outside. Worked with the 25 most of the race, but he knows if he gets behind him now, it's going to be hard to get ahead of him. He's got to race him.
It's a tough race here still between the 2 of Wang and the 25 of Freeze. The 2 gets a great push from the 55 we've seen so far in this run. Not enough to clear him. He's going to lead this lap just barely with 8 to go.
9 to go here in the event. Coming down to the wire here. And, you know, going back to that incident, Andrew, we saw the 25 really make an aggressive move down to the bottom. And really, he was clear, but he wasn't. So I don't blame Vicente for trying to stand his ground there with so few laps left. But, you know, we saw the 25 and the 14 get into it on the last lap here at Talladega maybe 3 races ago. I'm wondering if that was a little bit of, you know, you raced me rough, I'm going to put a big block on you. And I wonder if there's going to be some bad blood with the 14 if he ends up not making the playoffs. Kevin Freeze may have his hands full the next 4 races if he makes it in.
It certainly could be a possibility. You know as well as I do, these drivers, even on a video game like this, they do not forget. I wonder if we're going to see that spill over as we see the 2 car of Brian Wang still hold on to the lead in the turn 1. The 25 of Freeze holds it tight on the bottom, keeping the lead. We're going to see how it shakes off up down the backstretch.
Absolutely, but why don't you look there in the 5th position? Don't know how he does this the past 2 weeks, but just stays out of trouble. Got a super clean truck here and still in the thick of it for the win. Gael Brooks in the 71. Maybe just biding his time, wondering if there's still more wrecks to come here tonight.
There very well could be, and that could be his ticket to sneak in a win tonight. We've seen many a times before a guy at the back catch the right brakes, miss the wrecks, ended up front, as we see Wang still holding the lead as he cuts down in front of Freeze there.
Big block by Brian Wang. These guys making aggressive moves, and I'll tell you what, look at the 25. He's probably not going to appreciate that very much. Going to land right in the bumper, and Kevin, after feeling like he's been cheated out of a couple of wins, wouldn't shock me if he didn't push really hard on the last lap and almost cause an accident that away, even though that is a teammate or not. 25 is racing to get into these playoffs.
The 25 also knows that the 55 up there in that outside lane is a very good pusher, and if he gets the opportunity to jump up there, he might have a ticket back to the lead. We're going to see if he stays in line, try to bide his time and wait for the last lap, or go for the run. That outside line, he is clear till the 25 of Freeze. We're going to see if he decides to jump up and stay down.
Absolutely, and he's not in the race for the win. Neither is the 55. Both drivers 1 lap down, but in 9th and 10th place. Remember, we talked about attrition earlier, just making sure you survive to the end. This is what happens if you can make it to the end of this. Even though they're 1 lap down, they're still in the top 10. You've only got 8 trucks on the lead lap, and 2 of them getting ready to go a lap down here if we don't get a yellow soon, and that'd be Vicente Guerrero and Gabe Butler, 2 names you would not expect to see 40-something seconds off of the lead pack.
Who would have thought you'd be saying that 10 laps ago, but here we are. That is Talladega. She gives and she takes, and they are certainly feeling it tonight as Wang still leads with Freeze behind him, the 55 on the outside. We're coming to 5 to go. I'm very curious to see what shakes out here. This is going to be crazy.
Do you think we see another yellow, Andrew?
Who's to say? I wouldn't be surprised. And for a truck like the 55 there of Wilkinson, it's in his best interest to be up there racing right now. Because say he gets a run and happens to clear the leader there, he's back on the lead lap. He's up there in the pack with the rest of them if we get a caution.
Yes, he can be right there, not starting at the tail end of the pack. That would be huge. Remember, Lucky Dog is great until you have to start behind all the lap trucks. And with only 5 laps to go, if he got a restart with 2 to go, he would have no chance being that far back in this field. But definitely, I want to say it's a race up front, but really these lap trucks are causing it to not be a race up front. So the bottom lane, their goal is to really push ahead of this top lane, and I bet you if Kevin Freeze even gets a sniff of an inch up in the top lane that he is going to try to make it up there. And here it is. If he's got a shot, he's going to take it here.
He may want to take it because they're coming up on lap traffic down there in that bottom
JD's
lane.
going to take it instead.
There he goes.
That's going to kill the bottom lane. JD Crow is saying, you know what, we're teammates, but we're still here to race. I want to get the win. And JD Crow always runs well with Dean Wilkinson there in the 55. Those other lap trucks trying to stay out of the way, knowing they were taken out of this event, unfortunately. But now we have a race for the win with 4 to go.
That bottom lane kind of broke up, leaving 2 there, giving the top lane, which was much more organized on the exit there, enough momentum to stay neck and neck down the straightaway. Will Wilkinson push the 5 to the lead here? I'm very curious to see if they got the momentum. Freeze, though, holding strong as he has all race behind the 2. It's going to be hard to pass.
Freeze, one of the best pushers in the field, but Dean Wilkinson, also known for being an incredible pusher. Robert Dupont has been up front in these packs the last couple of weeks. 2nd place, 1st place, finds himself a lap down right now without a yellow. Probably going to stay a lap down for this event, but he's there to try to help someone else if they need it. These lap trucks will play a factor in this finish as we're just under 3 laps to go.
3 to go. This 2 car still at the point. The 5 of JD Crow looking from the outside. Big run coming from the 55 of Wilkinson. Will he clear him? It may be enough. He's got the lead now. I don't think they got enough to clear him in the 3, though.
Absolutely. Luckily, the 14 and the 1 able to hang on to the tail end of the lead pack, so those trucks not really damaged, just kind of spun there and lost all their track position. But Gael Brooks still hanging in 4th. Could he still find a way to get a top 3? He's going to have to get up there to Kevin Freeze to try to do it. He's in a gaggle of lap trucks as we are coming to 2 laps to go. Will we finish under green or will there be a yellow? We'll find out this lap.
Here we come out of the tri-oval once again. The outside line with the run. The 5 of JD Crow, the 55 of Wilkinson, a lap down, trying to push him clear. The bottom lane holds serve and continues to hold the lead in the turn 2 and 3. The bottom lane definitely a little more organized right now.
Absolutely. Bottom lane, though, moving around a little bit, having to catch a little bit of air, and you see that that's helping the top lane as the 2 gets a little loose with a push from Kevin Freeze. That's going to slow him down right back to side-by-side into turn 3. It is for JD and Brian Wang.
And that pretty much evened them back up going into 3. Here we are, turn 4, still neck and neck. Just not even a car length between these guys.
Absolutely.
Good pushing up top. I think they're going to get the run into the trial here. That top line has more cars.
Absolutely. Looking to be strong here, coming to the white flag lap on Green White Checker TV. We will finish under green. 1 lap to go. JD Crow with a big run going into turn 1. Who will come out on top?
Going into turn 2 this time, the number 5 of JD Crow in a dead heat drag race with the number 2 of Brian Wang, getting a good run and a good push from the 55 of Wilkinson, neck and neck down the backstretch. Who's going to have the momentum? Who's going to have the push to win the race to turn 3?
Seth Groover not in the field tonight, but in the chat saying his bet is Brian Wang wins it. I could bet that too, but that outside looking really strong. Watch for the side draft to get really tight here. Remember the start-finish line, not in the tri-oval. It is actually outside of pit exit, and that can make all the difference. The 2 of Wang getting loose. The 5 getting the push. Who is it going to be? It's close. And he's turned.
Spin.
Brian Wang going to finish 3rd, I think. Timing and scoring still trying to update here. Not quite sure, but we know that JD Crow going to be your winner here tonight. Andrew, what a finish. How about that for your first race broadcasting here tonight?
That was definitely a good one, man. JD Crow gets it done, played the cards right, made the move there with 5 or 6 to go, whatever it was, to put himself in position on that outside lane. Had a great push.
Absolutely. Quick run through for your top 5 before we look at your last lap replay here. JD Crow gets the win. Kevin Freeze, as of right now, timing and scoring. Andrew, you can verify with iRacing for me, but it looks like Kevin Freeze is going to finish 2nd, possibly Brian Wang 3rd, Robert Rock 4th, and Gael Brooks 5th.
I believe that is correct. It is still showing your top 5 as JD Crow, Brian Wang, Kevin Freeze, Robert Rock, and Gael Brooks finishing a nice solid top 5.
So we need to go back and we need to see if we can find this last lap here, Andrew, and we need to try to watch this to see the action. Let's kind of see what happened here. Let's ride on board. We're really going to watch blimp view here so we can see all of these moves. Look here, the outside lane had gotten such a big run on that top side.
That bottom lane kind of became disorganized in the turn 1. And just as you kind of hope for on that outside lane, you get a great run off of turn 2 down the backstretch.
Absolutely, seeing these truckers really going after it here. It was a dead heat on the back stretch. You see Brian Wang was getting a little bit of a run, but we've really got to watch turn 4 onward to see what happens with these guys here. And really going to put the focus here now on Brian Wang so we can see, 1, where he finished across the line, and 2, just how this all shook.
I believe the 25 there going into the trial, or leaving the trial rather, had a great run and a bit of a wide open push over the hump there on the inside lane, exiting the trial and got into the back of the 2, and that's what got that all started.
Absolutely. We're going to see it here. We're slowing down the speed to see how this race ended. Lap trucks did play a factor with big pushes, but look, the 25 gets on the quarter panel right there.
Just like you had talked about, that left rear corner lifted that rear end up and around he went, but luckily it happened right at the stripe. It looks like he will retain 2nd or 3rd.
Oops, played it at full speed and didn't mean to, folks. Look at it right. Oh, couldn't catch it quick enough.
That's close, though.
It's close, but it does look to be, if I play it one more time here for us, looks to be
P3.
We'll
He's
stop
ahead of the
it
25.
right here. Trying to find a good camera view. Right there, if I could just...
There's a wallpaper if you ever need one, folks.
Right there, just so close. Wow, what a finish. And there they are, the burnouts for JD Crow on the front stretch. Definitely man, cannot catch him with all the buildings, but there he is. Definitely enjoying this win. So now it's time for us to talk to our top 3 finishers. And it looks like we need to talk to Kevin Freeze first thing. Andrew, I'm going to see if you can fetch him for us so we can see if we can watch this last lap.
Here we go.
All right, got Kevin Freeze here with us, 3rd place finisher. And Kevin, what a race for you, my friend. Talk us through this last couple of laps. What were you expecting there, and how did you end up getting that 3rd place finish here tonight?
Well, first, sorry to Vicente and Gabe, because that was a pretty bonehead move by me to pull down when I was obviously not clear, even though I was told I was, but I was not. Other than that, it was it was pretty uneventful except for that one thing. It was a good race. It was fun up front, tight racing for most of it. We had some single file, but that run there at the end, when after that restart, was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you certainly held the lead there for a while. I definitely had you picked there at the last restart. It's a shame what happened, but great job holding it together there for the P3.
Yeah, thank you. I after that happened to those guys, that's no way that I wanted to win a race. That's why I was very happy when Brian was able to come down in front of me, but also bummed that I couldn't push him to the win. Just got a little offline there and spun him out.
Absolutely. So, Kevin, we saw it kind of started with your big block, right? And you've already talked about how that was misjudged just a little bit. Maybe going into turn 3, that middle lane, maybe getting that little extra run. Spotter might have called clear for just a split second, misjudged it. But, Brian Wang also putting a big block on you later in the race. Is that really what it was going to take to win this race? Was it as soon as you had the single little inch that you had to slam the door? Is that kind of what it took to get the win tonight and kind of get up front?
Yeah, well, I wanted Brian to come down because I thought once he came down, we could really control things. It was also super confusing in the field, just running up there because I was trying to figure out who was on the lead lap with us, and it was us and JD in the immediate, and I was really confused, but I was hoping and asking Brian to come down earlier than that because I just thought we could cruise just a little bit, and then JD got clear high at that one point, and then things got a little more interesting.
Absolutely. Well, man, through all the interesting racing here tonight, you got that 3rd place finish, just shy of the win here tonight, but hopefully this run with you second in points was enough to keep you in the playoff talks. We're going to look at the points toward the end of this broadcast tonight, letting Gael crunch those numbers for us. And hopefully we see you in a great 4-race playoff run for the championship. But before we let you go, we got to give you a chance for any thanks and shout-outs you might want to give here for your 3rd place finish tonight.
Yeah, thanks to you guys for doing the broadcast. Nice to see Andrew in the booth with you.
Hey,
thanks. Yeah, good to see you back.
Yeah, man, good to hear you.
And then it was nice having Gael run with us for a change. It's nice to see him out on the track, and I'm sure it'll help him with the broadcasting side, just being out there and watching the dynamics of the race. And huge thanks to the admin, and then Gael and Brian for working with me all night.
Absolutely.
And again, I apologize to Vicente and Gabe for destroying their race.
Absolutely. Well, man, solid run. You talk about Gael getting out there for perspective. I had plenty of it a couple seasons ago, and I tell you what, I was always in the bad wrecks there on the last lap coming down to turn 4, and I found it a lot safer up here in the booth getting to watch you guys put on a great show. So great 3rd place finish there, Kevin, and we're looking forward to seeing you next week and hoping to see you run for a title here in Area 51. Great run tonight. Go celebrate with your team.
Thanks, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the race.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
He put on a great show tonight. Good show of dominance. It's just a shame he couldn't get it done.
Absolutely. That was your 3rd place finisher Kevin Freeze. Now we've got to find Mr. Brian Wang and see if we can drag him in here, Andrew. See if you can find him here for us, putting you on the spot your first night. Is he in?
There he is.
Right there, we've got Brian Wang. What a great competitor there in that. Oh, it's not changing my camera. There we go. Brian Wang in the pink machine here tonight, finishing P2, but not maybe the way you wanted to finish there, Brian. A little slideways, I like to call it, coming across the line. Tell us about your race tonight.
Yeah, it was quite an interesting race because I got wrecked really early on lap 3, I believe, because of some net code. And yeah, I had to use my fast repair, but didn't decide to save that much. So yeah, we just went out there and raced them aggressively.
I'd say you did a great job with it, Brian. You were up front all night. By the way, great paint scheme. It was great seeing that number 2 pink BWT car out there. You did a great comeback from that incident on the lap 3 or 4. What was it? I'm just gonna say, glad to see you stick around. You were dominant all night, so I mean, at least you still got the second out of it.
Yeah, at least it's not as bad as last week to lead 60-something laps and lose it on the last lap. At least this time I'm still on the podium, and we didn't lead that many laps tonight. So yeah, it doesn't hurt as bad as last week.
Absolutely. Well, running with these truckers, we know you kind of joined in the season late, not going to be one of the championship contenders, but Brian, if you run with us the next 4 weeks, what do you think your goals are going to be as you're racing around guys that are just going for race wins and other guys going for championships? Are you not going to care and just go for every win you can get? Or are you kind of going to try to be that good teammate that tries to help out everybody the next 4 weeks?
Well, yeah, I got to help out my teammates since they're in the playoffs. But if the opportunity comes, then I'll probably try and go for a win.
Did you hear that, Andrew? I heard opportunity to turn the 25 after he turned him tonight.
That's what it sounded like to me. I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
Brian, no, I know how you are, man. Me and you've had some really aggressive racing back in the Monday night series they used to run with the Next Gens. Had fun with you there, and good seeing you run up front here, brother. So we got to give you the floor now for any thanks and shout-outs you might have for the second place finish tonight.
Yeah, thanks to you guys for broadcasting. Thanks to everyone at Area 51. Thanks to Team Bootnaka and Kevin and Gail that I ran with today.
Absolutely. You heard him thanking Kevin for the spin there for second place. No, just aggravating you, Brian. You know I love you, brother. So great run there tonight. Looking forward to seeing you throughout the rest of the season. Just trying to go for those W's, trying to prepare maybe. I'm going to ask one more. Maybe preparing for next year running full season possibly in the trucks?
Yeah, that seems to be the plan, hopefully, to run full-time next season.
All right, that means these races are going to be even more exciting with such an aggressive driver as yourself. Go and celebrate with your team, my friend. Great run here tonight. Have a good night. Congrats on your second place finish.
Thanks.
All right. Clicked the wrong button. So, all right. So, got our second place finisher talked to. Now it's time to talk to your race winner here. And it's going to be JD Crow. If we can find him in the Discord, going to bring him in. JD Crow in the house. He is your race winner here tonight. JD, I've ran with you a bunch in this series. I know how you kind of hang out and wait till the end, just run at the back, save fuel. But, man, tonight you had to get aggressive on a couple different occasions, especially trying to help your teammate that was on the verge of going a lap down. Talk us through your race a little bit. It's kind of up and down all night long, wasn't it?
It was definitely up and down. We really, I knew I felt pretty comfortable where I was, even in 8th on the points to get into the chase, and I knew Eric was behind me, so my goal initially was to try to get him some bonus points and keep him in a good spot. And unfortunately, I think he got collected up in one event that put him a lap down, and we really worked to try to get him back on the lead lap or keep him in a position to get the lucky dog. And then unfortunately, there we were, one of the late pit stops, we we got pinned down on the exit, and it kind of jammed up our exit out of pit lane around the bottom in 1 and 2. And we lost the group we were racing with, and Eric and I got back together and with a bunch of lap cars. And, we ended up trying to get in position so the group could make the best time, and some guys would get out front and kind of slowed us down. So Eric and I were pushing real hard to try to get up front. And there's just something about the trial oval tonight. I don't know if it was the heat of the track. I mean, I know it was pretty hot, but you didn't really have to touch anybody, even though touching them helped, to really loosen them up enough to get them turned down. And I think that's kind of what happened with Eric and I. And I think that's also what happened there with Brian at the end. He was just a little loose, and just a soft touch is all it took to turn him down. And hate that happened, but glad he still got a P2 out of it.
Yeah, you did a great job all race. You were kind of, for somebody that hangs out in the back, I've been told, you kind of did a great job of being up front there for the entire second half. It was a great move you made on, I believe it was lap 74 or 5, the good run to get up there. I was just quite impressed, man. Good job.
Well, thank you. I was actually satisfied where we were, because I knew it wasn't going to hurt us. We would be solid in the chase, running behind Kevin and Brian. And so I was just content just to stay there till the end. But fortunately, we had about 5 or 6 trucks that were a lap down that were really racing for a spot. So as soon as that window opened, I decided to jump up just in case they got too aggressive, and didn't want to get taken out and lose all that position and points for the chase.
Absolutely. And, as you were coming to the finish here, JD, running with teammates, kind of running in line, was expecting to see the 25 move up when he got clear, but you all three got clear, and you were the one to make the move to move up in front of Dean Wilkinson. Was that the plan all along? Was that toward the end you had to go for the win? I mean, you were 8th in points there, kind of on the cutoff. If something were to happen, you would have been the first one out. But was that the plan, to try to move in front of Dean, knowing he was a lap truck, to see if he would commit and push you to the end?
Well, the plan was really to stay with Kevin and Brian. I mean, because I knew all those laps around us, but then when something happened, they checked up and there was a big gap, and I had a chance to get to the top. I felt pretty confident that Dean would race to the end, because he had all those other trucks he was racing around him. I knew, Kevin's a heck of a pusher, and I know Brian is very capable of hanging on to it. If they get bumper to bumper, I think track conditions caused it more than anything for Brian not to be able to hang on to that bump. But, take the win. Glad we kind of stole that one, but we'll take it. We were very happy where we were. The main thing I was thinking when I jumped out was just to get in a position that if something happened, that I wasn't going to get collected and lose a bunch of spots.
Well, JD, I wouldn't say that you stole that win tonight. You were ahead of those two on the bottom before their incident, so very well-deserved win here tonight. Showing Gabe Butler that he's not going to be the guy that just dominates this season. You're going to come out in the playoffs and win the next 4, right, JD?
Well, Gabe's still the captain, so he just unfortunately got knocked off the track there. It wasn't anything intentional. I think it just matter of good hard racing, and I wouldn't have gotten out front if it wasn't for Dean. He did a hell of a job, keeping cool, because Kevin was cooling down for the last couple laps to get a hard push for one, and Dean did a great job and was able to get me out clear and keep me out there. So hats off to Dean.
Absolutely. Well, hey, JD, you had a great run tonight all over the pack, but hey, you finished where it mattered, and that was in the number 1 position. So great win here tonight. Want to give you the floor now for any thanks and shout outs that you might have for this race win here tonight.
Of course, we got to, thanks to all the Boot Knocker family. This is a heck of a group organization. They're tough. They're tough to compete against when you're in there with them too. So thanks to them for all the help they give and the encouragement they give. We had Gary, Gabe, and Eric in the room tonight, and they were very helpful all night. And also the guys down in Florida, jconcepts.net. They're in Groveland, just outside of Orlando. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers, and all of our friends and family that are in Florida, and all of our racers that are in Florida. Hopefully, the damage is minimal for them, and their lives get back to normal in a very quick way. Thanks to all the group at Area 51. Hope Charles is working hard. We hope we get him back in the competition with us before the season's over. And you guys at Green White Checker for putting on this broadcast. Going to enjoy going back and watching this one again.
Absolutely. Well, man, ran a great race. Like you said, need to keep Florida in our thoughts and prayers after Hurricane Ian come and really did a number there in the States, keeping them in our thoughts and prayers. And JD, we wish you all the best of luck as you head into these playoffs. We're going to unveil these point standings here pretty soon, and I would highly expect with you right there in 8th and winning tonight that you're going to be vying for a championship. Hey, no more 55-point lead for Gabe Butler. You're going to be equal with him going into this. So why don't you go out there and win a championship there, JD? Give it your best and go celebrate with your team tonight, man. Great job.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna give it a run, and whoever on the team's in the best position to win it, we're gonna make sure they do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Have fun with your team. Go celebrate. We'll see you next week. All right, that was your race winner, JD Crow, there in the number 5. And man, as we get ready to wrap this up, we have got to now go and see if we can look at your points or your race finish here tonight. As the results are coming up on your screen, we see JD Crow getting the win here tonight. Brian Wang somehow finishing second and all that. Kevin Freeze in 3rd. Robert Rock coming in the 4th position. Gael Brooks, broadcast extraordinaire, in the 5th position. Derek Walker in 6th. A lot of fans out there watching his race, came with a solid top 10. 7th place, Dean Wilkinson, lap down. Only 6 cars finished on the lead lap. Dean in 7th, first car 1 lap down. Robert Dupont there in 8th. Vicente Guerrero, not the night he was expecting, but rallied back, Andrew, for a top 10. Pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, he did a great job holding on to any positions he gained, and looks like it's paying off in the points for him as well.
Absolutely. We'll get to that in a moment. Gabe Butler also hanging on in the 10th position. Had nothing to lose going for it and just had unfortunate incidents there at the end. Dan Harrington in the 82 in the 11th spot here tonight. The 12th spot goes to Robert Duvendak. Pretty aggressive all night. Just didn't have things go his way there. 13th, Jay Hilliard. Guy Bracco, saw the incident with him earlier, kind of not getting the caution he needed when he lost the draft. Going to finish in the 14th position. Now to drivers 2 laps down. 15th will be Robert Jordan. James Mohan there in 16th. Gary Jenkins, 17th. Randy Miner in the 18th position. The 19th position goes to Eric Laurie. Some unfortunate incidences there. And Bob Fitzgerald rounding out your top 20. Bud Steele in 21st after that late race wreck. Put him a couple more laps down. And Tom Dixon never had a caution fall the way he needed it. Finishes 7 laps down there in the 22nd position. So, going to do something a little different here tonight. Going to bring broadcast extraordinaire Gael Brooks into the booth with us to make sure, A, I don't mess this up, and B, to verify that we have the correct standings here to show you, Gael. We're going to put those up on the screen now, and you can tell me if this is correct, but I believe we have our top 8 finishers here, Gael.
Yeah, we indeed do. It was not as tight as it's been before. Luckily, this time, I'll say for better or worse, it wasn't one of those 1-point differences between 8th and 9th. It was actually a 9-point swap between 8th and 9th there. But yeah, indeed, like you mentioned, though, our top 8 in points. Gabe Butler, obviously, with his domination, leading the field into the final round, or into the playoffs, I should say, followed by Kevin Freeze, JD Crow, Vicente Guerrero, Robert Rock, Jay Hilliard, Dean Wilkinson, and Robert Duvendak will be the 8th and final driver in the playoffs for the 4-race playoff here starting next week at Daytona.
Absolutely. Gael, as you read those names, I hear lots of heavy hitters. Andrew, you got to see some of these drivers here tonight. How do you feel about that top 8 going into the next 4 races? You saw all of these guys duking it out here tonight. Think it's going to be pretty competitive?
I believe it will be after what I just witnessed tonight. Them guys put on a great show. They showed respect, they showed restraint, and they showed that they're probably some of the best in the business at this plate racing stuff. I really like seeing a guy like J.D. Crowe come into the picture, into the points picture now, by running a good calculated race. I think it's going to be very interesting to see. I'm definitely going to be tuning in. That's for sure.
I'll tell you what, boys, I'm going to do something interesting with both of you here because I think this is very... Andrew, you may not know for sure, or you might. You know some of these guys, but Gael, I'm going to put you on the spot first. 4 races to go. Who do you think your championship pick is as we reset all those points to being dead even going into next week? Who do you have the next 4 weeks from what you've seen on track that could come out becoming our next Thursday night Truck Series champion?
Well, I mean, I would say obviously the easy pick would be Gabe Butler. And like I said, obviously any of the top 8 would be a great choice. But honestly, after the last couple of races, I feel like Kevin Freese has just he's been there week after week after week. I mean, obviously, me running last week, the week before, he and Brian Wang lapping the field with Robert Dupont. So I think Kevin Freese is going to be the one to watch. I think it's going to be his. I think he's going to be the one to try to grab it. Taking big advantage of getting that 46-point lead that Gabe has coming into the playoffs. Everybody's going to be resetting to 0 here starting next week.
All right, Andrew, who you got?
I'm going to take the safe bet, but with Gabe, as I haven't been here all season to see how this is shaking out, but I've seen this movie before following Area 51, and Gabe, Kevin, that whole boot knocker team, them guys are just, there ain't many better than them, and that's the safe pick. But if you want my dark horse, I'm just going to say it, J.D. Crowe. He has the momentum. As you can see, anything can happen, and if he runs a good race as he has tonight in the next 4 weeks, wouldn't be surprised to see him pull it off.
Yeah, momentum is momentum, right? You take it with you. I mean, Gael Brooks here, momentum. 2nd place last week, top 5 this week, keeping 2 straight top 5 finishes here on the restrictor plate track, Gael. You're proving to be quite the little racer. Maybe we should have got you out of the booth earlier to let you go run with these boys. You just didn't want to embarrass them, though, right?
I was thinking about that too. After tonight and after last week, I was like, man, I might be having something here. I even mentioned it to Brian and Kevin there after the race. Like, I might have to do this full time next season because I've been doing well, which that's great, but I've just been having so much fun with these guys doing it, and just learning a lot every lap and everything like that. So I won't lie, it's gonna be very hard to pull me out of that seat coming into next season. I say if all goes well, I think we're gonna keep going through the playoffs as well. Kind of mind my P's and Q's. Don't want to play a role in the championship, make any issues there. But I like to have fun with these guys, and it's been a blast this season.
It looked like a lot of fun. I gotta say, I was a bit jealous watching you.
I'll say if you want to do some racing too, so you know where to find us.
For sure, man.
Absolutely. What a great night of action. So before we sign off, I do want to give, Gael, I'm going to even include you in this. I know you wasn't in the booth, but you were out there firsthand getting to see this. But I'm going to start here with Andrew. Final thoughts on maybe how the race went tonight, and then what we got to look forward to the next 4 weeks. What kind of racing you think we're going to see? Because, Gael, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe we're going to start this thing out at the Daytona International Speedway. So definitely going to be interesting to see how all this shakes out. Andrew, how do you think these next 4 weeks shake out, and what do you think about tonight? Summarize it for us.
I think tonight was a very great race. Very few incidents. The ones that happened were all straight-up racing deals. These guys know what they're doing and everything else. I mean, you've seen it in them last 10, 15 laps or so. Nothing but 3 wide, 3, 4, 5 rows deep. I think you're going to see a lot of that going through the next week as the big title's on the line. I think these guys know what they're doing. They can race clean, and you're going to see more of the same probably for the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, I have to agree with him. I think we're going to see very similar. Daytona, though, I'm saying that's where we're going to open up. Is going to be Daytona. Then I believe it's 3 Talladegas to finish off the rest of the playoffs. So I think there's going to be a little bit of calmness at Daytona. Say that third lane is always a lot of kind of that risky move to try to force the third lane. So I think it might be a little calmer there. Qualifying will obviously be the big one there. But yeah, I think once we hit the second race, Talladega, I think at that point it's going to be pretty much no holds barred, especially if someone has a bad race. at the first race in the playoffs. They're saying, all right, well, I'm going for broke here. I'm going to go for those final three, kind of pull a Jimmy Johnson and just go haywire in the playoffs. So it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Like you said, the respect and the camaraderie from these guys is second to none. So it's going to be hard at fighting racing, but at the same time, it's going to be very respectful. And like I said, just racing deals, that's part of racing, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Absolutely. It's going to be crazy, and I believe I'm correct in saying, at least for the Super Speedway Series, both of them have now set their playoff field, getting ready to start Sunday night. Gael, am I right saying Sunday night will be race 1 of the playoffs for the Xfinity Series?
Yes, sir. Yep. Sunday night going to kick off the playoffs. Same thing at Daytona. So it's all coming to. I say somehow already. I'll say 3/4 through the season and getting into those final 4 races. Actually, I should say 2/3 through the season, get into that final third of the season. So yeah, so we'll be kicking off the playoffs over on Sunday evening. So we've got the 8 drivers locked in over there. And I also have to mention, though, some great camaraderie. Kevin Freese made the playoffs, but knew he couldn't make all the races, so gave up that 8th position and gave it over to Zachary Workman, who was in 9th. So one man's misfortune is another man's benefit. So Zach in the playoffs with that graceful move by Kevin, and he was only 1 point out of getting in the first place. So that's just how tight it was. So yeah, so it's going to be fun to see what those top 8 guys have over that Sunday side.
Absolutely. So don't miss out on Sunday night seeing the Xfinity Series cars going to the high banks to race for a championship starting Sunday night, same time as we did tonight. Also, Tuesday nights, you have the Dark Horse Area 51 IndyCar Series. 2 leagues coming together, but only one can be a champion. I've been hearing some great things over there on Tuesday nights. And, you know, I've always heard that if you can beat Matt Wagner, you get the chance to aggravate him quite a bit. And, you know, Gael, I probably shouldn't have said it on broadcast, but hey, we love Matt Wagner, right? You've had him in the booth some, so if you want to aggravate Matt Wagner, go over there and beat him in his vehicles. So go over there, race Tuesday night with Dark Horse Area 51 IndyCar Series. A lot of great action there. And do not forget, come back next week, same time, same place. The high banks of Daytona International Speedway. We are running these truckers for a championship. We've narrowed it down to 8, but there can only be 1. Who will it be? Gabe Butler has dominated this season so far, but the last couple races, momentum not on his side. But yet you've got J.D. Crowe on the other end with a lot of momentum after the win here tonight. And, you know, a lot of guys like Vicente Guerrero, Kevin Freese, they're up there every single week, but something seems to happen at the end. Can they put 4 races together to get a championship? It's any man's game, but we won't find out till next week. So, for Gael Brooks and Andrew Pileshi joining me tonight, I'm Max Caldwell, and we will see you again next time. Stay safe. Enjoy your week. Enjoy this nice fall weather coming into your land. And we will see you next week for some amazing plate racing. Take care and good night.